great to see everybody, and thank you to PWI for this time to explain all about our RailVac and what we're doing with the L&E teams, Wessex teams, and basically transferring that out to the whole industry, if possible. I'll tell you a little bit about our RailVac. Well, this is the agenda, the RailVac and its versatility. I'll tell you all about our RailVac, what it does, what it doesn't do. A little bit about the safety and performance, which is quite a big issue for us. And then getting into what we're talking about today, the constraints that affect some of the quality of the works that we want to do on the refurbishment and the plan that we've got for that. And now we've improved it. Again, working with the teams, working with the guys on the ground, we've improved somewhat from when we first started back in 2005 with the UIC gauge machine. And there's a few people in the audience that started with that. Dave Ratledge and Brian Counter, to name two. And then we've showed you some of our improvements, the results of what we've done, and hopefully how we can improve further. And it's guys like yourselves out there with your input and your knowledge. You know, we're not the be-all and end-all. We have got a unique piece of kit, but it's your guys' input that we need to make it even better and work for you. So, this is the RailVac. It's 20 metres long. It's the size of a tamper, basically. On there you've got the manipulator arm, which is on this end here. This is the working end, the A end. Basically, it's a hydraulic arm, and on the end of that is a hardened steel tube. That is what actually breaks up all the formation. It doesn't suck up the ballast. That's what actually breaks up that stiff, hard, compacted material. 16,000 cubic metres of air flowing over the nozzle end all the time, constant, 0.8 of a vacuum, really powerful thing. If you stuck your arm up there, the first thing it will do, you'd probably lose all the blood in your body in about 0.3 of a second, I think they calculated. So it's not the best place to stick anything in the end of the tube, contrary to what people would like to do. It doesn't always work. Again, it's got two material hoppers there. It holds 18 cubic metres of material, excavated material, before it requires emptying. The third hopper at the back is a filter, HEPA-type filter, traps everything. A bit like the wife's Dyson, or my Dyson in my case. It traps all particles, even the exhaust is even cleaned through the filter. We have the engine bays. We use two Cat C9 marine engines to power the vacuum. That's how powerful it is. The effector plates at the bottom, they open up for discharging material. Material is just fed out by gravity. The effector plates open up into two parts, approximately 2 metres away from the track. Discharge it onto the floor, and then we pick the material up while we're excavating away. We'll pick up the material, load it into a train. And it's powered by two hydrostatic drive wheels, front and back. It can travel up to 20 kilometres an hour, unrestricted, but of course in their possession we're down to walking pace and less. In working mode, it's even less than that. The versatility, these are some of the things that we've done and some of the things that we can do and some of the things that we'd like to do. And again, it's your guys, it's only your imagination that stops you from using it, basically. Enhancements, OLE bases, CESPAS, UTXs, trophy routes, track lowering maintenance. We're working on great projects at the moment, S&C refurbishment, doing a lot of that with the L&E. And we'll get into that just now. Renewals work, we have worked with renewals on certain things, not as much as we'd like. Power telecoms, again, there's lots of things that we can do. Again, UTXs, trophy routes, cables, burying cables. We can bury a cable, and if people want to dig down 3 metres to pinch it, more than welcome, but we can dig it back up again and reuse it at a later date. So there's no need for a cable theft with this machine. We've got a platform edging system that we utilise the machine for. We can lay a platform, 200 metre platform, in less than a day. Again, structure inspections, repair. So all these things, this is all about the RallVac. It's not just a one-trick pony. It does all of these things, and it's been proved to do all of these things. Since 2005, I haven't got the things on the slide. It didn't work. But since 2005, we started with a UK machine. I'll tell you a bit about the safety and performance. There's a nice picture of the Brunel Bridge there that we worked on, just off the points and some S&C that we excavated and replaced with chipping. Since 2005, but there's never been a possession overrun attributed to the RailVac because of the way that we work. That's including weekend possessions and midweek possessions. We've never damaged a cable or any part of the infrastructure. No S&T disconnections required. And we've had probably 4 breakdowns that we repaired on site. All our guys are fitters for the machine. They know it's all about electrics, welding. We've never had a major breakdown, a catastrophic breakdown since 2005. That's working with the URC gauge machines and our W6A gauge machines. We work, like I say, midweek. We can open up a little bit of track and it's reballasted straight away, more or less. And we keep going, so we can always hand the track back. Now we get into some of the constraints that sort of affect us with the re-timbering side and reballasting. It's very resource heavy refurbishment. So you've got a lot of guys and you've also got short possession times. These are big constraints. Short possession times means we can only do little bits of work. But the RailVac itself, again there, that's Stafford. I'm sure there's people in the audience recognise that. That was the job we did over a weekend or so at Stafford in a blockade. And going back to the constraints, it's, time is of the essence. Time and money. We can come in, we can do that midweek. We can nibble away at that midweek. Luckily we had a big weekend possession there. But the work that we're doing on the L&E and Wessex is 50-60% of the time it's working midweek. And when we get into working and we want to work around these, we have all these little anomalies, and it's like us. If we utilise our machine and processes, and we do trial hole information, and we can use the RailVac to dig trial holes, of course. But if we find out what's in there for reballasting, pinpoint the areas that need reballasting, but also pinpoint the areas where you might need a little bit of formation renewal. This machine will dig to 5 metres below track levels, if required. So there's no reason why we couldn't do a formation renewal in over a short patch. So the machine's ideal for that. And if we get rid of these little things, BRB base plates and pan 11 base plates on a joint, on a toe-to-toe switch, we get rid of those. We can really, I'm working with Neil and people like that, we can get rid of all these, and the reballasting process that we put in there will have a great impact on all this works. Again, they're vertical incline base plates on the same timber, voids and things like that. That sometimes don't get picked up. We go in and reballast and walk away and leave things like that. It's not going to hold up. It's just going to show poor thing. But just go back there. And what we're doing, we're trying to improve those works. We're getting rid of all those little anomalies now. We're excavating and reballasting and compacting, levelling a lot better than we were a few years ago, 9-10 years ago. These are, again, you can see this is the same junction. This is on the Trent junction. Coal dust affecting basically the formation. Excavated, put back, re-timbering, realignment, and the RailVac reballasting. When we excavate as well, we can't always, because of the time, we can't always break through the shoulder, take all the shoulders out. But what we tend to do is, from the level that we've excavated to, we'll break through the shoulder, right down onto existing drainage runs. So we can find the pipe and dig a channel right from the excavation, right down there, and just fill it with ballast to form a French drain. So if we do one of those every 4 or 5 metres through there, it just aids the process. Simple thing, but it aids the process, and it helps us just to help the water get away, especially in the untreated areas that we leave in situ. We also, when we're excavating now, some of the things that we're improving with the likes of Steve Pinckney and his works delivery team up on the L&E, and the Wessex, we're installing geotext, geowebs on the base of the formation, on the base. So we take out the ballast level down to existing formations, lay in this mesh-like grid, geo grid. That's what that does. It forms a layer that the ballast sits in. It stops any, once the ballast is in there and fills in these little mesh areas and pushes through into the formation, what that does, it stops the lateral movement. When you've done it, when you've renewed it, it stops any lateral movements of that, and it stops penetrating and it helps with consolidation, compaction and going through the formation. Then on top of that, we're utilising these geo webs, 150mm geo web, fill that with ballast, and it forms like just a big raft, solid raft, like a concrete base. 200mm of ballast on top of that for tampering and maintenance. We've had some results down in the Wessex route that we're working on now, in plain line and some S&C. We've utilised this stuff. We've done the works without possessions. We've maintained it without possessions manually. And I think the biggest deflection they've had, they measured 4mm. Well, 2mm of that's going into the pad, but they said 4mm. But we take that as it is. But we don't have speeds on. We're doing a programme now where we're not using speed at all. There's no cover speeds on. There's no speeds on after the job. So all the money that's saved on there, there's just a few guys going there maintaining that with these RoBell hand tamping tires, and I'll show you those now. This is basically what these do. These hand tamping tires that we utilise, and that's some of the results. And I'd like Steve to come down here. Actually, I'll get him out of the audience. Steve Pinkley to come down, because he's one of the main players. He's one of his works delivery team or delivering. We've done, and I'm going to go through it now. This is part of the route that we're working on. You can see there, switches and crossings. They've installed 27 sets of S&C. They've retimbered 1,000. They've changed 1,179 timbers, and the figures there, 81.10s. That's what we've reballasted. Well, we've done more than that. We've done up to 90 now, 90.10s. Basically using the methods that we're using now with the geotext, the geo web, the RoBell hand tampers. And these are the kind of results that we've been getting. This is Bradley Junction that we've just done. And I'm sure Steve comes down, he can tell you all about Bradley Junction. Have a pop down here, Steve.
Talk from here, right?
All right, then we'll talk from there then.
That was a junction we had at Christmas. We handcraft the line speed there. We hosted Christmas. Used the gas up the one hand and gas
Yeah, so again, they're the results that we're achieving. You can see top, alignment, dip angles, all showing improvement. This is basically just a photograph showing how we've levelled out underneath. We're getting better and better with these processes. I mean, we want to get better, and there are things out there in the market that we're currently looking at to mechanise this kind of system. This is the Wessex route. 8,000 wet spots to be removed. This year, up to now, period 10, we've removed 3,800 wet spots. Midweek nights working in what can be considered very restrictive around on the Wessex route, third rail areas, working for an hour, maximum 2 hours per night. Most nights we work for around about 45 minutes to an hour, but we still removed 3,080 or 3,800 wet spots, 300mm below sleeper bottom, improved drainage, cleared out catch pits, improved change drains, changed all the concrete sleepers that are basically unrepairable. They were in the wet spots areas, and it's been a great success. And you can see the total at the top there, and on the bottom we've got Eastleigh delivery units, we've got Yeovil, Salisbury, Bournemouth, Eastleigh, the stuff that we've achieved all the way through there. So it's been very good results, and we're working on that now next year, hopefully to reach the target of 8,000. Again, we utilise the same kind of processes. We've standardised everything that we do. So every time we get out the vans in the RailVac and arrives on site, everybody knows what they're doing. We get out, we do the job in quick time and get away. And again, no possession overruns, working midweek nights, digging track. And again, more improvements here. This is a pre-reading. This is the track recording codes there at this was on a level crossing that's between Reading and Waterloo there, and again there you can see the yellow line just sort of earmarks the actual area itself. You can't really see it, but it has improved in those areas. Again, this is the kind of scenario that we're faced with down on Wessex, and these are the ones, this is the kind of thing we cure. Although this is on the Merehead branch, these are, I'm afraid to say, in some of the main line areas. They're quite difficult to maintain, as you can see. So this is the future. What we're going to do now is our future, we think, lays with a sort of a high output system where we can rebalance. The biggest thing for us is keeping the ballast coming in. So when we're excavating, we can, in theory, every bay we empty, 2 bays we empty, we can be backfilling one. But at the moment, the processes we've got at this moment in time, we can't achieve that. So we've got some ballast handling wagons that we're building a prototype now in Sweden, and that should be ready for viewing in May, I think, on the back end of May. And this is the kind of system that we want to look at and want to bring to the industry. While we're backfilling concrete bearers, timber bearers, there'll be no need for any duff jacks. As long as we can keep the ballast in, there's no need for duff jacks. We keep tamping and removing ballast and putting new ballast in and hardening it off, so all that process will come forward. And in fact, we've used 2 of our RailVac machines in Sweden to cut because we've got ballast handling wagons over there, and we can cut a G-switch, G-turn out in 5 hours, utilising 2 RailVacs. 5 hours and giving back to traffic. Albeit with I think it was a 50 mile an hour, 70 kilometre speed restriction on S&C. So this is where we want to go, but this is, we need your guys' input. You are the end users, your engineering minds can help us. We've got great engineering and practical guys in Sweden, but we still need your help and your assistance. You tell us what you want, and we'll build it and we'll bring it forward. And that goes for any plant like compaction. We're looking at compaction. We're looking at smoothing off the bottom, trying to mechanise everything. It's not an easy task because there's not a lot out there. But we have got some great industry partners over in Sweden, not on the railway, but all sorts of industries over in Sweden that are very practical. So that's what we're looking to do in the future. Again, this is a stylised view of what we do with the geotechs, and again, if you're doing a reballasting system on wood, concrete, this is the kind of process that you go in. You put in your geo-web and your geogrids, cut in your ramp, consolidate, keep your train rolling, and keep excavating basically. And if you're in a concrete layout, you open up 2 bays, 8 metre bearer, just fill it back up again. There's no loss of track geometry at all. You're just staying as existing, or even improving it when you go through with the robo. So it's quite a simple, easy process. All the stuff is ready off the shelf. Could be manufactured in probably less than 12 months. Knowing the Swedes, they'll get it up and ready and working. And we want to make it work for you guys. And again, just going back to the safety and performance, it speaks for itself. Steve will verify we've never had a possession overrun, attributed to the RailVac, never damaged a cable, service, any kind of infrastructure at all in S&C. So we're quite pleased with that, and we are proud to be working with the people who are. I know Brian and Dave and people very, very well, and we want to maintain that, and we want to work with you guys to help achieve this half-life reballasted, or whatever you want to call it, half-life extension, because if we get this right, it will extend it for more than 5-10 years. And that's the end of my presentation, and thank you very much for listening.